I feel like there's a lot of emotions that are underexperienced, like, for example, embarrassment, and more importantly, adrenaline, or that's not a emotion, but a feeling, people are lacking, especially nowadays, is that feeling of thrill or that feeling of adrenaline, like when you're, for example, in pursuit from the cops. I used to get in a bunch of trouble with the police, um, with my friends, and I used to do a bunch of ridiculous shit. Just like insane stuff that I don't think any kid should probably shouldn't be doing, but they should be doing, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like no kid should be doing what I did, but um, I think kids nowadays definitely need to learn how to do some bold stuff. I think just people in general just need to start doing bold things now. I feel like nobody does anything like worth a story, like something that you can sit down at a campfire and tell the people around you that you did. Everything there's nothing worthwhile hearing anymore. There's no stories from people that are worthwhile to to listen to. Nobody has any like interesting experiences. Nobody has any like bold side quests that they've done, or some insane like lore that they've been through. Everybody's just sitting around doing nothing anymore, and I feel like, I mean, th- there's obviously it's much more limited now, considering everything has surveillance and CCTV. But I still feel like, if the opportunity presents itself, you should go do some crazy shit. You should go do some, like, you know, for example, I climbed a crane nearby, and they're still building it. So they're I climbed a crane, which is being used to build a apartment building, a high rise apartment building, and it's still there. So I might go climb that shit again. And the first time I climbed it, I went with my friends and just two of my friends. And I never felt anything like it, just being up there that high. I think almost 120 meters, 150 meters up. I don't know how tall it was. But I mean, that feeling was one of one. The wind was very windy up there. The breeze was just going through your hair. You know, being able to see the CN Tower from like a whole nother city. And luckily the skies were clear, so I could just look up, see the stars. Took a bunch of photos, bro, and like we could literally see all around our city. Like our little, everything looked like ants. It looked like like the cars were like tiny, and just being able to look over our city, like damn, I went to that school right there, and it's like directly underneath beneath our feet. And usually it would be like a 10-15 minute walk from where we lived, and it just all was like right there. It was just a one of one feeling, like just that thrill, and the just feeling like you're doing something that not many other people can do or will do. It's I think it's definitely a under experienced emotion or feeling. And again, I just think nobody's doing anything bold. No one's doing anything anymore. It's just, sitting at home, either, sorry, playing video games. If you're a guy, if you're a girl, posting fucking thirst traps, like just straight, like, just like meaningless content. They're just consuming, posting. I would even consider for women, posting thirst traps is a form of consuming. They're not really telling a story. Playing video games is also a form of consuming. They're not telling a story. There's nothing to be said about that. Playing video games, doing nothing all day. And I mean, now I don't know where you might live, but if the weather near you is good in your area, you should go out, find your people, and do some crazy shit. Cause I know I will. I just, once you get that feeling of like, especially since a young kid, I've been going for that feeling as much as I could. You know what I mean? Just trying to just feel it again. What it felt like as a kid. Starting forest fires, just escaping cops for whatever reason, ding dong ditching, um, breaking into like random buildings, going into abandoned buildings, trespassing, all of the above. Like again, like I said, this is like stuff that your kid probably shouldn't be doing, but it was an authentic experience. It was not like fed to me. I had to go out of my way to achieve that feeling. Does that make sense? Like I don't know how much better I could put it. I mean, it's like it's a feeling that you have to it's a feeling that you have to acquire by overcoming another feeling, and which is fear. And again, fear fear is another feeling or emotion that just I think people don't feel enough anymore. Just nobody does anything to put themselves in fear. And I feel like, you know, if you don't put yourself in fear every once in a while, then your mind will start automatically creating fears for just so that it has something to go about that feeling, just to, you know, set the threshold for fear. It has to create some type of stress, some type of anxiety, some anxious feelings within you, unless you actually do it, you know? So, which is why I'm gonna say it one more time. Go do something, bro. Go do something bold. Fuck the consequences. I mean, you literally, I know it sounds cliche, I know it sounds corny, but you only live once. You know what I mean? Like, you genuinely might as well just do something. And I don't even just mean this about, just doing like wild things in, like trespassing or breaking the law. I just mean like if there's something that you want to do or you're contemplating and there's no and there's no negative downside aside from, you know, embarrassment, go do it. Just go do it, bro. If there's if the only thing that is blocking you from doing something that you truly want, if the only thing is embarrassment or fear, that is the perfect indicator that you should go do it. If you're unsure about anything else because there's something else in the way, whether it be, you know, pain or family or friends or something else in the way, think over it. But if it's embarrassment or fear, go do it. You literally have to. I mean, you have to calibrate your sense of fear. You have to calibrate your sense of adrenaline, or that release of adrenaline, that feeling of thrill. And if you're just sitting at home doing nothing all day, consuming, you know, I think you need a reset. So yeah, thanks for watching, bro. Go do something bold. Go do some stupid shit. Face the consequences later. Thanks.